Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. It's a pleasure to have you here again, because today we're diving into a story that blends mystery, romance, and the kind of whisper-soft revelations that make hearts race. The title that set all this in motion is simple and irresistible: Hazal and Erkan, the secret she loved. Even saying it out loud feels like turning a key in a lock. There's a door behind it, a room full of moments, and we're stepping closer to see what glimmers in the half-light. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time so you never miss our weekly deep dives into the stories you care about most. When you hear the names Hazal Subaşı and Erkan Meriç, your mind goes straight to the alchemy that made Deniz and Koy a phenomenon. Two stars whose paths converged exactly when fate needed them to, and a pair of characters, Zara and Ömer, whose push and pull captured a nation. The question that lingers for fans is a delicious one: what was the secret she loved? Was it something born on set, out of marks hit and lines memorized, or something softer, quieter, carried out of the spotlight and into life? Let's thread our way through what we know, what we sensed, and what only a bond like theirs could create. Start with the screen, because that's where we first learned their language. Hazal and Erkan didn't just play Zara and Ömer. They inhabited them. You could see it in the way a glance would hang in the air a beat longer than usual, in the way a breath would catch before a confession. It was artistry and it was instinct, and that blend is where magic happens. The secret she loved may have been this very recipe, the way their energies met and refracted into something that felt real. When an actor leans fully into a character, it's like tuning an instrument until it sings. When two do it with equal devotion, the harmony is undeniable. Their scenes together didn't simply unfold, they hummed. People still talk about how Zara's softness could simultaneously unsettle and soothe Ömer's iron will, about how his controlled intensity made her defiance bloom into vulnerability. That tension didn't just create drama, it crafted a rhythm. And that rhythm became a haven for performance. Perhaps the secret she loved was the trust inside that rhythm. Hazal could take risks because Erkan would be right there, answering the moment, catching it, lifting it. And he could push the edges of Ömer because she gave Zara a quiet strength that never broke, never bent into caricature. In the give and take, they found a private frequency, a creative exchange that only they understood in full. It's easy to forget how much of a show's heartbeat comes from what we never see. The pre-dawn call times, the script pages with penciled notes, the shared silences before the camera rolls. Maybe the secret was born in those between places, a ritual before a difficult scene, a promise to tell each other when a moment felt off, a shared playlist that set the tone for a crucial confrontation. Little things like that become anchors. An inside joke whispered off camera can turn into a flicker in the eyes when the director calls action. A hand squeezed in passing can steady a long take. Those are the details that create the illusion of inevitability, the feeling that Zara and Ömer were always meant to collide. But it would be naive to pretend all of this existed only in fiction. Fans don't just watch, they invest, they dream, they read between every line. And in the glare of that attention, you need someone who sees the person, not just the persona. Perhaps the secret she loved was simply this: she found an ally in Erkan. A confidant who understood the pressures of a hit, the demands of daily shooting, the expectation that real life should echo the script. Fame can be noisy. The set can feel like a city. Still, there are corners where you can breathe. Maybe their conversations carved out those corners. Maybe their laughter did. There's a better than good chance the heart of it was friendship. Not the kind that's casually tossed around, but the deep, steady kind built on respect and a shared sense of responsibility. They were the leads, they carried the story. When the camera stopped and the lights cooled, the weight didn't vanish. That's when your partner matters most. He knows when to back you, when to nudge you, when to let the moment settle. She knows when to speak up for a choice, and when to let silence say enough. If the secret she loved was that rare, wordless understanding, who can blame her for guarding it like gold? Let's talk craft, because it matters. Both of them grew in front of our eyes. You could track Hazal's precision from episode to episode, watch as she balanced fragility with resolve. You could see Erkan refine the smallest gestures until a raised eyebrow or a pause became a sentence. Working together, they sharpened each other. Artists are mirrors, they reflect and challenge. Maybe the secret was momentum, a sensation that every day together made the next day better, every scene a new chance to surpass the last. Hazal might have loved how his preparation steadied the set. Erkan might have cherished how her spontaneity kept the work alive. That kind of synergy doesn't just lift performances, it alters careers. And it did. The impact was unmistakable. Their pairing drew new viewers, sparked endless conversation, and built a passionate community that still carries the torch. With that came pressure, of course, the kind that can distort the edges of a life. Which is why another possibility rings true, perhaps the secret was a shared boundary, a pact to protect what mattered. Maybe they carved out rules, no overexposure, no feeding rumors, no letting noise dictate choices. Maybe they found ways to be themselves beyond the set, to enjoy simple rituals that dismantled the cyclone around them. A walk between scenes. Tea that always seemed to appear at just the right time. A quiet check-in before a confrontation that was bound to leave both of them wrung out. Imagine the night after a grueling day, script still warm from their hands, the city outside blurring into its own restless story. Imagine a conversation held in low voices, measuring what worked and what didn't, promising to meet tomorrow's scenes with curiosity, not fear. The secret she loved could live in a moment like that. It might have been a single line he offered that unlocked a truth in a monologue. It might have been the way she looked at him at the end of a take, just before breaking character, gratitude passing between them like a lantern. Those details are small only to people who don't understand how stories are built. There's also the thrill of the future. Partners who thrive together often whisper about what comes next. A movie that would stretch them in new directions. A series that would let them try a different emotional temperature. The secret could have been a plan quietly made, a promise folded into the present. One day, when the time is right, we'll surprise them all. If that was the secret, if the hush around it made the anticipation sweeter, then of course she loved it. Surprise is a kind of romance. Hope is, too. You might be wondering if the secret was ever a private heartbreak or a storm they survived. But listen closely to the phrase itself, the secret she loved. There's good inside those words. Warmth. Fulfillment. It suggests gratitude rather than regret. Maybe it was the liberation of knowing that a connection can be profound without being performed for the world. Maybe it was the discovery that chemistry doesn't have to be chaos, that it can also be a safe harbor, a space where two actors trust each other enough to dig for truth and come back whole. Their fans, as always, became part of the tale. Theories flew. Photos were examined. Every laugh at a press event felt like a clue. And yet what kept people returning wasn't only speculation. It was the undeniable sense that what they created together mattered. That sense is a legacy. You carry it forward not with gossip but with the work itself. If the secret was a vow to honor that, then loving it makes perfect sense. Picture a day when the set felt heavier than usual. The scene is pivotal, emotions sharp as glass. Hazal stands just out of frame, eyes closed, steadying her breath. Erkan steps close without crowding, says nothing, then nods once. The take that follows is the one we all remember. After, there's a smile that doesn't need language. Maybe that was the secret in miniature, presence. The knowledge that your scene partner is there in full, no matter what the script demands. It's a rare kind of intimacy, and it leaves an imprint. For all the theories, maybe the simplest answer is the right one. The secret she loved could be a braid of many strands. The creative flow that made long days feel shorter, a friendship that didn't need to shout to be real, a quiet pact to guard private life, and a spark that turned make-believe into something that felt beautifully inevitable. We can't parse what belonged only to them, and that's as it should be. A little mystery keeps the story alive. A little silence can be more eloquent than 1,000 interviews. And so we come back to where we started, to that door with the key still warm in the lock. What glows behind it is not a scandal or a revelation meant to break the internet. It's a memory, a rhythm, a presence. Hazal loved a secret that made her braver, happier, better at what she loves. Erkan stood inside that same secret and gave it shape with steadiness and grace. Together, they built something that still echoes whenever fans revisit Zara and Omar's most unforgettable scenes. That echo is proof. You can hear it if you listen, a soft chord struck long ago, still ringing. Now it's your turn. What do you think that cherished secret could be? Was it a ritual before the camera rolled, a pact after the lights went down, a plan for a project that hasn't yet met the sun? Tell us your theories below. Your insights are part of why this space feels alive. If this story drew you in, tap like, share it with someone who remembers those scenes the way you do, and make sure you're subscribed to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. We'll be here next time with more mysteries, more memories, and more of the truths that flicker just beyond the spotlight. Until then, keep listening for echoes.